Welcome to New Jump City, everybody, where we recap the week in American and Japanese sequential art. I am your host, Christian, the unbiased king, Espinal, and joining me through StreamYards, I suppose, it is my co-host, my partner in crime. It is Joshua. Gangsta Time Cole.
It's called partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
That was close.
I don't know why
It's
I'm thrown off
Chris.
today. Also joining us,
I hope
it is
everybody listening.
it's our Star Wars producer. It is Edgelord Big News Brian.
Sup, nerds?
Hello. Wow, very excited to get into this show. How are you guys doing today?
I'm chilling.
Hell yeah.
I was not feeling great, but I'm feeling a lot better now.
Mm-hmm. Hence the delayed recording.
Yeah. I was reading One Piece today. I told you guys before, I finished, what's that, Water 7 and Annie's Lobby.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say basically I'm at the midpoint of Thriller Bark, where they've all meeting up like on the boat and decided they... All right, the last chapter I read was the chapter talking about Laboon, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane how I already knew they had that connection, but just reading it was just like, damn. It's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't matter if Oda planned that early on or not. It's the fact that he followed up on like an emotional thread that he didn't really have to, but really helped solidify this guy being part of the crew. You know, they all resolved to be like, yeah, we're gonna help Brook, and we're gonna help him get back to Laboon. It was nice.
Yeah.
But man, Thriller Bark, you know what I've noticed? I think because Enies Lobby was so hectic and really serious at certain points, Thriller Bark has seemed really funny. And it's also moving, like, the pacing is a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could tell this is a much shorter arc than, you know, the others, which is nice.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was like a perfect transition, I guess to say. I liked it. Almost like a much grander version of Long Ring, Long Land Island.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Anyway, yeah, what is Moria?
What do you mean?
What is he?
What do you mean?
He's just a weird-looking guy.
Is he a human?
Yes.
A regular human?
Yep.
He's like stitched up and stuff. Maybe he's had like work done on him to make him look like
From what
that.
I mean, that could possibly be a scar from Kaido.
Oh, the what he has stitched up on his neck?
That would be my guess. They never get into it.
But why?
But
But why is his neck so long?
people look weird
Why
in
does
One
he look
Piece.
like that? He looks like fucking like a Mickey Mouse character.
Well, I
That's
think his neck was way shorter when he was young. Like Gecko Moria was jacked in his youth and in his prime.
Really?
Yeah, he went up against Kaido and everything changed because he lost, and Kaido killed its entire crew. But
His shadow crew or his like crew?
no, he had an actual crew of people that he actually cared about, and Kaido killed all of them in their battle.
Damn.
Moria was the only survivor.
And he had the shadow fruit powers.
I would imagine so. Yes, he had the Shadow of Fruit powers back then.
Yeah, Kaido's a beast.
Yeah. And a lot of people figure that's what changed his entire disposition and why, you know, he became kind of a dark mirror to Luffy in like a worst case scenario if Luffy had taken the loss of Sabaody a lot worse. You know, just like not emotionally attaching to his crew and just opting for a group of zombies that will do his bidding that don't really feel anything and aren't really alive. And it's interesting because Moria even learns to care for them because Absalom, he confronted Blackbeard, who was the fucking emperor at the time, to get Absalom back.
Absalom got stolen by Blackbeard?
Absalom, I forget how he ended up on Pirate Island, but he ended up there.
The Jaguar dude, right?
Yes.
Oh shit.
He ended up there, and he was killed by the Blackbeard pirates, and Shiryu took his power.
Oh, the invisibility?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Holy shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy I'm rereading this series. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, pretty good.
That's what he gets for trying to do foul things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not crying for Absalom. But
Nah, that's
Nope.
crazy, though.
no tears for Absalom here.
But Moria tried to get his mans back.
He did try to get his mans
tried
back.
to-
And then he got captured.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Did you have any more thoughts of like One Piece so far?
I mean, if anything, I'd be wondering if y'all have questions for me, like based on what I've been reading, how I feel about certain things.
Ooh.
You know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I gotta reach into my own memory of like what exactly is going on around that time.
Yeah, I gotta send more pictures to the group chat, but why don't we get into what you've been reading, Chris?
I'm caught up to Blue Box, and this is a part of my multi-part series where I try to catch up to and be current with every single series currently running in Jump. I finished Blue Box. I'm on chapter 190. Made it in time to celebrate 200 chapters of this series, and I really enjoy it. I really do. I think it's a nice little story. For those who don't know, it's about this kid who plays badminton, and he has this crush on this girl who's on the girls' basketball team, and they kind of push each other to kind of like, you know, be good at their sport and make it to nationals. The girl is a year older than him, so she's on her graduation year, and this is her last chance to make nationals, and she ends up actually living with the kid. And that's like the big little twist in this series is that her parents go abroad for work, and they leave her, with the protagonist's parents so that she can continue to pursue basketball and so she could stay, in school and stuff and not have too much disruption in her life. And they leave her with them because the main character's mom was a good friend of her mom. And they played on the basketball team together when they were kids. So they're like family friends, essentially. And she lives with him, and it's like a nice little romance story. It does something I never seen like a romance story do in Jump, and I don't want to really spoil what that is, but like I think it's a cool direction, and it's like nothing. Let's just say it's usually the thing that happens at the end of the series, but it happens about halfway through. And yeah, I think it's just refreshing, and it's like interesting to see the dynamics play out. And there's other characters as well who are all going through their little like romance stories and whatnot, all while having this like sports backdrop, which isn't like the main focus. They do play some games, and those games are important to the story, but they're not like Haiku where you spend multiple chapters on a game for the most part. Every now and then that happens, but it's not like the sports series. It's more like a backdrop than anything, and it's a good little backdrop. I like it. I think people should either read it or watch the anime because from what I've seen, the anime is beautifully animated.
It is.
So I think it's definitely worth it. I enjoyed it more than Mission Yozakura Family. I'll say that much.
Wow.
I'll put it up here.
Okay. What's the danger meter for it joining the lineup?
Nah, not very much. I don't know if it would be interesting just to see in a way, because all we do is Shonen Battle series. So if we ever wanted to introduce some variety in genre, then I would recommend Blue Box. That would be one of the ones I would recommend. So yeah, I would say it's like I would say maybe up there if you wanted to get like a different type of thing on our lineup. I wouldn't be opposed at all.
And it's not shoujo.
It's not shoujo, no. I mean, shoujo's not shonen and shoujo aren't genres; they're demographics. So, they're particularly.
It's not. I could care less, honestly.
Yeah, shonen is like just boys. It's targeted to boys. And shoujo is girl, so it's targeted to girls. But yeah, right now I've moved on to my next series, which is Akane Banashi. I have already read this series up to its 100th chapter, but I fell off. I'm like 50 chapters behind now. But I am reading it again. I'm starting from the beginning. And seeing as I have a head start on this, I remember really liking this series, actually. It's a very interesting series showcasing a particular type of performance art called Rakugo, which is like basically one-man plays where one person tells a story and they play all the characters. And they do it like, sitting in a sitting position, and there's no costumes or anything. They're just sitting in one place telling the story, playing the narrator and every character involved in the story. And they do this really cool thing where when they are telling the story, the art style changes to this kind of like ink calligraphy type of thing where like it's like an ink brush and you get to see the story play out. And everybody has like their special power in their storytelling. It reminds me, it's a lot like Bakuman, if you're into that. And currently Shoha Shoten is very similar, where it's just about the art, and it's a nice little series. The art is awesome. And yeah, I already recommend it. I already think like Akane Banashi is cool. I feel like the anime would be better because it is a performance art. So, seeing it animated would probably be a better experience than reading it, but there's no anime yet. So hopefully we'll get into that. But I will continue my journey with Akane Banashi. I've also been simultaneously reading Ichi, the Witch. I'm on chapter 15 of that, I think. And that's been fun. It hasn't like super blown me away yet. It's a very unique world and I like it. It kind of reminds me of it's not Pokemon, but it's Pokemon-esque because like their powers are actual beings that they capture and they keep for themselves.
Really?
And yeah, I'm enjoying Ichi the Witch. I'm not grasped onto it yet, but I like it. I like it a lot. I do think given, I feel like it's going to be like the next big thing after Kagurabachi. So
Wow.
I have a feeling about that. But those are the ones I'm catching up to now. That is it for my journey so far with reading every Shonen Jump series currently in circulation until I catch up and trying to be current with every single series. But yeah, that's all I got. Brian, do you want to add anything?
No, I feel like this is a pretty straightforward chapter, in my opinion.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's get into the show proper, and let's talk about some manga. One Piece.
One Piece.
This is One Piece chapter 1144, A Time for Warriors. Last we left off with One Piece. Nightmares are attacking. There is a holy knight on this island named Killingham that has the ability to bring out people's dreams, whatever they currently be dreaming about, and bring it to reality. And he has done so with the children of Elbaf, putting them all to sleep and bringing the thing that they're most afraid of to life. And now those things are attacking Elbaf at various places. So, yeah, that's happening. And meanwhile, Loki is currently being treated for his wounds suffered by Shamrock and Gunko, who have attacked him previously. And we open up with this chapter where Frankie is taken by Ripley to yet another shocking thing on Elbaf. She's just giving him the shocking things tour. He's like, did you know we have a whole fucking lab here? Which is pretty cool. Apparently, there is this really overgrown old laboratory that exists on Elbaf. And Lilith and Bonnie are already here because they got lost. So they just happened to stumble upon this place. And Ripley explains that she's been hearing alarms in the distance. So, there's probably danger in the woods. Lilith explains that she can't even believe that this place exists, and that she estimates that the building has been there for at least 3 millennia, which is nuts. It predates even the Void Century. This is probably the oldest thing in One Piece, except for maybe Ja Rule himself. But anyway,
Damn, really?
I think Ja Rule's like about. He's like 3,000 years old.
Google time.
Google time. Brian's gonna
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule. Find out how old Ja Rule is. Probably like 40. Probably in his 40s.
Yeah, right. 48.
Yeah, something like that. While Brian is, oh shit, he's got the Google up.
Did it show? Wait,
you're not presenting. Come on, Brian. Come on, Brian. You can do this, buddy.
There you go.
Hey.
He is 480.
Oh, so this thing
408.
Okay, so yeah, this is definitely the oldest thing we've seen in One Piece so far. He is 100.
Did you say he was 4,000 years old?
I thought he was.
He's 400 years old. 408 years old.
Yeah. All right, never mind.
Yeah, this lab is 3,000 years old. So, according to Lilith's estimation. But anyway, as they're talking about it, and Lilith explaining that she's actually going to settle down and live on Elbaf, specifically in this lab, and Frankie's about to check it out too, they get attacked by one of the dream things that Killingham has summoned, which is the big lightning cloud that is attacking everything.
Probably the worst one that could have ever came up on them.
For sure. For sure. Meanwhile, and Frankie is just like, oh, Elbaf, land of mystery and wonder. And Ripley's like, actually, I've never seen this thing in my life. This isn't natural. Oh, you mean the cloud with the smiley face on it is not natural? That's crazy.
I guess he didn't want to be rude.
Yeah.
That could have been their local deity.
Meanwhile, at the Western Village, the Draugr is attacking, and the Draugr is, I guess, a zombie in Elbaf lore. So everybody's just confused. They don't know what to do about this fucking thing. Brook is offended because he sees it as just a giant version of him, which is very funny. The Elbaf warriors attempt to move the Straw Hats away. They don't want the Straw Hats to fight because they're guests, and they shouldn't have to fight, which is nice of the Elbaf warriors. Meanwhile, Colin is begging to join the fight, and they are, denying him, even though he is the son of Gabon. And they're like, no, you got to stay here, stay put, and stay safe. Meanwhile, Nami tells Ja Rule about the incident with Shamrock.
And Murder Inc.
Yeah. Shamrock and Murder Inc. And yeah, they're basically surmising. Ja Rule commands his warriors to be on the lookout for at least 2 humans that have infiltrated and are not related to the Straw Hat crew. And Nami and the rest of the Straw Hats are trying to figure out ways to contribute because the Giants are not allowing them to engage in battle. Dory and Bragi are currently in the bathroom because I guess they're too drunk to participate at the moment. the Giants leave Usopp, Jinbei, Nami, and Brook alone, but then they're like, well, while they go fight the big things, we can go look for the Holy Knights and fight, I guess. And that would be cool to see them go up against the Holy Knights. Maybe this is Usopp's time to shine, take down a Holy Knight himself. That'd be pretty sick. So they notice that Colin is sneaking onto one of the boats, and they don't exactly stop him. So Colin's going along with them to find the Holy Knights. And we cut to the Holy Knights. Speak of the devil, we see that Gunko has her TD headphones in. And she's listening to music. And apparently this is a after meal tradition that she does, or a post meal ritual she does, where she just listens to music after eating. And they ask specifically what song she's listening to, and she says that it's New World. And for those of you who don't know, New World is one of Brooks' songs that he made when he was a platinum selling artist.
Oh, nice
during the
catch.
time
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. This is one of Brooks's most popular songs, it seems. Anyway, so they're just like busting her balls about this ritual that she has. And we cut over back to Saul, Chopper, and Robin as Saul is desperately trying to stop the kids from sleepwalking into a fiery abyss. And he tries to hold up two shields to prevent them from moving, but the kids start to bump into each other and the thorns start to stab the kids. And Saul is immediately like, oh no, this is not going to work. It's not good. It's not looking good for Saul and the Giants. Yeah, they are. Robin is, brings up the idea is like, hey, I guess our only option is to find whoever's powers these things belong to, and stop them. But Saul is concerned because the kids are obviously walking into a burning jungle at the moment. So he tries to lasso them one by one, I guess. And as he's doing that, he actually manages to stop one of the kids using a rope. But then a Fenrir comes out of nowhere and starts attacking, which is no bueno. Not good at all. Meanwhile, at the Western Village, the Giants there seem to have defeated the Draugrs, which is pretty cool. The dragon in Nidhogger and a ghost pull up to the Western Village and start fucking shit up there. The Giants start to run and try to escape these things, but then Dorian Broggy shows up with the Hakoku Sovereignty and blasts a hole through the dragon. And they're very excited. The cavalry is here. The giant pirate crew on their ship, and guess who's with them as well? Mr. Ya himself, Scopper Gaban, who I didn't think we'd see till the end of the arc.
Yeah.
But that is the end of the chapter. Josh, what did you think about One Piece chapter 1144?
I don't have that many thoughts other than the arc is moving at an interesting pace. I think Saul's facial the way Oda draws Saul's face is really interesting to me. It's super detailed at certain points. Like he's been even in the other chapters when he was reacting to the kids and shit. I don't know if Saul was always like that, but I think it's really funny. It's a nice detail. I'll be honest with you, I'm having a hard time taking the situation serious, even though it's a really bad situation they're in. Am I the only one that's like,
How come
this has gotten progressively bad, but is it that bad?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a uber threat yet. I feel like this isn't something that the Straw Hats can't surmount.
Right.
Which
I mean, the element of surprise is crazy. But my bad. What were you gonna say?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. I don't think that's like a particularly bad thing. I just think that like maybe when they catch up to whoever's doing this, it'll be an interesting fight because they are holy knights after all.
Yeah, for sure.
And it does seem to be like the outer members of the Straw Hats actively looking for them. So
yeah, because a lot of the strongest Straw Hats are still in the underworld, right?
yeah, the monster trio is still with Loki. So that leaves the strongest being Jinbei at the moment.
It's Scapagabao. Yeah. Brian, what were your thoughts on One Piece this week?
This was a pretty alright chapter. I think they're setting up Gunko to be like a turncoat for the God Knights at some point. There's actually some theories going around as to who she is. This will be the first big news, Brian, in a while.
Oh shit! Let me find it. I haven't even used this in a while. I can't. I don't have it.
No, it's fine.
It's so old.
So the streets are talking. People are saying that Gunko is actually a Ginny clone.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, actually.
So I don't know how I would feel about it. I feel like it makes sense because she's a big food eater. She's a big song enjoyer. And it just seems like she's starting to go towards the path of being like a turncoat, which would be cool. I really like her devil fruit. Her devil fruit's actually really cool.
Directional movement.
Yeah, I really like it. It's a cool design. But I really like the design of the monsters too, the little fear monsters and stuff. Like the Draugr looks cool. I'm curious as to how these things are mobilized. Like how do they decide where they go? Because why is the lightning motherfucker so far away from the rest of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would think they either they wander at random, or Killingham controls them to go where they go.
It's really bad that the lightning one ended up at the oldest place that we've ever seen in One Piece.
Yeah.
And
honestly, I feel like that's what gives it credence, that they probably just move at random and they just wander, because there's no way it wasn't an intentional move, because nobody knows about this place, it seems. So
Yeah, I think the creatures were just seeking people out.
yeah.
Although it was suggested when the Fenrir pulled up on Saul that they were being controlled. We already know that these creatures were created by that dragon.
Killingham.
Killingham. So
Kieran.
I'm sure he's guiding them at least a little bit, or at least giving them orders. And in the situation with the lightning bolt, it was probably just to seek out people and happen to come across them. They better get the fuck away from that ancient structure. You said it was a laboratory?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, Frankie said pure science, but
Yeah, I think that's I think it's meant to maybe be a lab. They didn't confirm it was a lab, but it looks like one.
But there was tech in there from 3,000 years ago or some shit.
Yeah.
they didn't say it was tech.
Yeah, they didn't say it was.
Well, Frankie said pure science. I'm sure there's something there.
Yeah, it looks
I'm pretty sure
mechanical.
there's a lab.
It looks like a mechanical building.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, you didn't.
But yeah, I wonder what the fuck, because it's gonna only continue to escalate here, and I don't know how I feel about the God Knights being like the main villains of this arc. So I don't know. I feel like there's something missing. There's still a missing piece to to Elbaf's story so far. Like it's missing one more thing to really be like, oh shit, this is the problem, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, who killed the king?
Loki.
Is it really that obvious? Loki definitely killed the king.
Well, it seems that he doesn't deny it.
I don't know.
He says, he does say that, like, you guys think I killed the king in, like, cold blood or something. I'm paraphrasing, but he says that. So I don't know if that means he's denying that he killed the king or saying that I killed him for a reason.
Some people are saying that he killed the king because the king was gonna, like, essentially tie them to the world government. Or
yeah,
something.
that's
Like,
what I've heard as well.
Open up Elbath. Which would explain why the God Knights are able to just like beam into the castle like that.
Yeah, there was a pentagram
problem.
thing already there.
Was it already there, or did it just? Or did
I
they
think
just
that's what they
portal
were
in and
saying
make
is
one?
that like in the throne room, it seems like it was already there, but I don't know. I feel like that was maybe unclear on my end.
But yeah, those are my thoughts. Curious to see, because there's just so many big players on this island. No pun intended.
Yeah,
Like having Scopper and Dorian Bragi and Loki, all these guys, Luffy, Zoro, having all these really, really, really strong guys on this island. I feel like One Piece is starting to get to that point where it's really hard to put the Straw Hats in a tough situation.
yeah. I mean, I have I feel like this is going to be kind of in the vein of the Zoe arc more than anything. I don't know. I feel like this is more of a big lore type arc where there is going to be some conflict, obviously, with the Holy Knights and with Loki, and the inner workings of Elbaf. But there's still so much about Elbaf that we haven't explored yet. So I feel like this is just kind of a primer. I can even imagine that if the Straw Hats find them and prove to be too much of a pain in the ass, that the Holy Knights will probably retreat. For now. I do see Gunko also trading places as well. She's the only person that seems to be built up to have some sort of humanity to them. Because she loves
she
food.
likes music.
Yeah, she loves food, and she has this ritual where she enjoys one of the Straw Hats' songs, to be specific, I feel like her meeting Brooke would be kind of interesting. I don't think she's gonna like join the Straw Hats or anything, but and I don't think she's gonna turn coat right now if she does. I think it'll be much later. I feel like there's gonna be a big confrontation here, and then they'll probably retreat, and then the Elbaf arc will continue in the way of explaining what the conflict is with Loki and why certain giants feel the way they do about him. We still haven't seen the Sun World, the very top level of Elbaf yet, and I can't imagine that we won't. So yeah, I think there's still a lot left to Elbaf, and this is just kind of a beginning, like a prelude to it. But I also see this being kind of like more of an arc similar to Zoe, where they establish goals and they drop lore, and things like that. Just because of how old giants tend to be, there's a big potential for just huge lore drops.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this chapter in particular. It is just kind of like setting up the next moves that everybody has taken and proceeding the conflict forward. This chapter is shorter than usual. It's about 15 pages long. So I thought this was a sign that One Piece will be on break next week, but it's not, thank God. One Piece will be back next week. Scopper took me by surprise. I honestly thought that he really was just going to lay low until the arc was over, but it's good to see him in any case. But yeah, that's all I got to say about One Piece this week. It wasn't a whole lot going on. It was just kind of like you go this way, I go this way, type of thing. But I enjoyed this chapter nonetheless. In any case, are any rebuttals? Anything else to add?
No, sir.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's move onward.
We call that easy money, GG.
Kagurabachi. Oh, sorry. Ugh, I'm off today. I'm off my game. Sakamoto Days.
Uncharacteristic.
Ugh.
Get debated.
That's a compliment, honestly.
This is Sakamoto Days, chapter 207, the new JAA. Last we left off with Sakamoto Days.
New
Everybody,
Ja Rule.
the new job rule. Last we left off, everybody was in big trouble. The order had surrounded our boys and has been mopping the fucking floor with most of them. Boiled got shredded on like a guitar. I'll never forget that.
Oh, yeah.
It was not
Yeah,
good.
flexed.
Yeah, it's not good. I hope he gets stronger because that shit was crazy. But anyway, it wasn't looking good. Sakamoto was made to believe that his department store or his grocery store with his wife and kid in it had blown up. So, he was traumatized by that. And he was then saved by his teacher, Kendaka. And as well as this character, I forget his name, but I remember him being the father of another character, whose name I have also forgotten.
Yeah, he is someone's father. He's one of the younger kids.
Yeah, I
With
forget
the
his
black,
name.
with the dark hair. I forget what his deal was.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
But anyway, they both pulled up to save the day. And Sakamoto is still reeling from the fact that his family may have been blown up. Kendaka recognizes this. And Oki explains it like, oh, you're still alive? Sorry, it's a little late in the game for you two old farts to show up. And they basically say, hey, man, you really clawed your way up the ladder these last few years, huh? And he's like, hey, JA is in a crucial turning point. Don't interfere. And Kendaka's like, hey, man, that teaming up with X, the order's really gone down the toilet. And Oki's just response was like, we can't put our pride before the survival of the species. That's one of the factors dragging down the old regime. And Kendaka's like, well, whatever, dude. Whatever, dude. Let's box. And then they start fighting. Oki has a spear, this really big, dramatic spear, which is pretty cool. Kendaka...
That's why he was talking all that shit when the dude had this blade to his neck, because he knew like he could get out of that situation.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about earlier. Like you saying a lot of you real bold right now. Wow, this guy got the whole knife to you.
Yeah, exactly.
The 3-piece.
But he wouldn't be a big boss level if he wasn't nonplussed about this situation.
Yeah.
He's like,
He can definitely beat Spandam, probably.
probably. That's a big probably there.
The elephant sword is a big deal.
The elephant
No pun
sword.
intended.
The elephant sword kind of rules. But I like elephants, so.
Yeah, me too. It does kind of rule. Too bad Spandam had it.
Yeah. It's a waste of time. Anyway, Kendaka does a whole speeding around the enemy to disorient him thing. And Oki is thinking to himself like he's still the fastest assassin alive. And then he gets kicked really hard. Other guy with the weird weapon thing tries to attack as well, but Oki manages to block that by, I guess, what's that sport called? The pole thing.
Pole vaulting?
Yeah, he pole vaults with his spear. Pole vaults over it. Shin tries to make his move, and he manages to rescue.
Wait.
Ooh.
Look, boiled is fine.
Boiled is fine somehow, somewhere.
I told you guys last week that he was fine.
I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure that didn't
he
kill
still has
him.
a pulse.
Yeah, he's alive. But how about his
Well, he's
pride?
making an effort to try to get close. They like saying that.
No,
they
he
can't
said
get
we
close.
can't get close. He said,
Yeah, but that implies that they want to get close.
"Hey,
So that means he's still strong
Blood
enough
was
to
never
fight.
a factor.
I look."
If they known that Sakamoto lacked the will to fight, they would have closed in. Boiled
Yeah.
was not a factor.
No, and look, I like Boiled. I like Boiled a lot, but he got done dirty, and that was not our fault. That was the creator of Sakamoto Days' fault. He did our guy dirty. But anyway, Shin manages to rescue Atari. And dang, what's this guy's name? I knew his name for a second. Shishiba? He asks if they should finish them off, but Oki is like, no. At this point, it's not cost effective. We have a lot of other things to do. Let's withdraw for now. So the order disappears, and Team Sakamoto survives to fight another day. We then cut to random places in Japan as people are fighting to get their biometric gun. They only get 3 shots and no shooting within 100 meters of JAA HQ. So that's nice. There's a little like safe home base area. But yeah, society is about to crumble. And we cut over to Sakamoto at his store. That's been completely destroyed, and he is sad boy. However, that doesn't last very long because it turns out Aoi and Lu survived the explosion, and they explain how when this random bomber came in, I guess the security system activated within the store to drop Aoi and Lu into an underground bunker, yeah, worked out. All good. But Sakamoto is still suffering from severe PTSD from thinking that his family had blown up, so he is not doing great. Other guy that's with Kendaka is like, there's bad news. He's in severe shock from believing he lost his family. Sometimes noobs who are unfit for the assassin life experience that kind of trauma.
Why is this guy using gamer lingo?
Let me tell you something. In our pre-show chat show that you can listen to, we talked about deadbeat dads and what certain dads like hit in a meter in a scale of 1 to Ging from Hunter x Hunter. This guy's up there. That's some deadbeat language. That's some.
This guy's a fucking noob.
That's some.
By the way, his name is Yotsumura.
Yotsumura. Thank you. That's some deadbeaties out there. But anyway, he says that's what you get for spending too much time in Normie Land.
Oh yeah, wait a second. This guy is actually a deadbeat.
I know. I said he's.
Named-
There's another character who's his dad, who's his son. This guy's for sure a
You think
deadbeat.
that's what Dragon said about Kuma? He said, you're such a fucking noob.
Ugh, you care about your
You
family?
spent all that time in Normie Land, and look how you got caught out. I ditched my son and my baby mother.
I didn't care.
See? Everything's good over here.
You don't see me having PTSD just because my entire family was thought to be dead.
Normie.
Nah, Dragon's a fucking 9.5.
There's whenever comics want to be comedians want to be condescending to just like normal people, they would call them civilians. Like, gee, these civilians just don't get it, you know? And that's what this guy's doing. He's like, oh, you ever try to hang out with a civilian? It's not as cool as comedians. That's what this guy's saying.
This guy's for sure on Reddit way too often.
Yeah. Having a family is
Just with assassins.
having a family is not PogChamp. I hate it.
He loves assassination too.
Loves it. So many people in the series love assassinations.
I think if he got there, in time for him to hear the explanation, he would have joined the other side. He'd be like,
Oh. He was like,
It does sound like a nice world for assassins. And I
they do
like
have a
that.
point. Anyway, we cut over to X, who is just about to stab himself with a knife because the Rion personality within him is very upset with him and almost caused him to kill himself. But he was able to stop it. And that's when the order came in, and they started talking. And like, took you long enough, you know? Meanwhile, Akane is thinking to herself, like, damn, this is going crazy. There's no stopping these people now. Isn't there anything I could do for Rion? Film guy is like, I wasn't expecting to side with you to side with us, Shishiba. And Shishiba's like, well, you got to make smart choices in this world. I'm no hero. Magnet Lady is like, we got to team up with these losers. And then here we go. One of our favorite shonen tropes. Villain group that doesn't like each other.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
It's a classic villain group that constantly
best.
tries to kill each other. Because,
Hueco Mundo.
yeah. So Shishiba replies, is like, hey now, be friendly. What's with that goofy arm anyway? And Magnet Lady immediately gets pissed and tries to punch him. But the bride, the buzzsaw bride lady comes in, blocks her punch. And Torres and Rion and Akane try to separate the two from fighting. But Buzzsaw Bride throws her entire buzzsaw at Magnet Lady and manages to cut just the back of her hair, which is very funny.
Her name is Osaragi.
Usaragi?
Osaragi.
Ulsaragi?
O-S-A-R-A-G.
Okay, Osaragi. Is that the buzzsaw lady?
Yeah, that's the buzzsaw
What's the
lady.
Magnet Lady's name?
Magnet lady. You can keep going while I look into it.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, she throws her buzzsaw, and they're about to continue fighting because they don't like each other. They're just here. They're just working together because they have common goals, but they fucking hate each other's guts. And yeah, the chapter ends with a 2-page spread where X asks them all to celebrate the birth of the strongest group of assassins in history. And
Her name is Kumanomi.
Kumanomi. And they vow to eradicate every single person who stands in their way. That is where the chapter ends. Josh, what did you think about Sakamoto Days, chapter 207? Josh? Can you hear me? Is that...
You're muted.
You're muted, bro. Are you all right?
You're muted, Josh.
Oh.
I thought you were aura
What I
farming
was
for a
saying is
second
that-
there.
Connection was going in and out.
Oh, okay.
So
Josh was
I didn't really touch
hardcore
when you said,
aura
"Oh,
farming."
Can I hear your thoughts? But it didn't help that I was muted. Anyway, I think it's so funny that you mentioned the girl, the little one. I forgot her name already.
Which one?
Akane.
You know,
Akane?
Rion's little sister,
Oh, Akane?
daughter, niece, whatever. Akane, yeah. She's like way over her fucking head, and she's hearing everything that's going on. She's like, wow. I really made the wrong decision back a few arcs ago. It was right after that island arc, right? They was like,
Yeah, where she was like, I'm gonna
oh,
join.
that's what happened. Didn't she get snatched up or something like that?
No, I think she willingly joined X.
Yeah, she did. Because Rion was there.
I think she got snatched up first. Her and the kid with the mask.
They were on the island, no? And then she decided to leave the island with
Yeah,
them.
they tried to. They took her to try to recruit her, but she was already down. I think.
Yeah, she ended up deciding to be down with them at the end, like when she found out about Rion.
Any other thoughts?
I'm just scanning through the chapter. I mean, I honestly don't have too much more to say. I mean, I could crack jokes. I mean, Sakamoto. Yeah, he thought his family died and all that. But, you know, once upon a time, he was doing that to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was taking loved ones away from people. You know what I mean? So it's just like when the older swordsman called him a noob and a normie and all of that. Was it rough? Yes. Was it accurate? What's going on, Sakamoto? Do you need to get chubby to get serious again? What's happening?
Yeah, he's off his A game.
I mean, there was no chance the family was actually dead.
Yeah.
I think the fighting is so cool in the series that I just can't wait to see who fights next, how crazy it gets. To be honest, cool new bad guy group. You already know the guy with the hammer is definitely not really with them.
Oh, yeah.
The Sandblaster will probably betray them for money or a bet. The bride is gonna follow the hammer guy because you know. I mean, the musician probably doesn't really give a fuck. He probably just wants to find that guy again. What's his name? Hardboiled? Mm-hmm. And violate
He can string him up
That's probably
again.
the only thing on his mind. You don't do things like that. Like, there's no way. That was another thing I wanted to talk about, actually. There's no way that I would ever seriously consider that one of his signature moves. He did that just because he felt like that's something I could do. He's
Yeah.
a music guy. He wanted to make a point, and that's not a special move.
That's his like stealth move, you know? Like like in Batman, where you could just like in Batman Arkham Asylum, where you could just like pull up on somebody and silently knock them out.
Yeah, with the single
I feel like
shot.
that's what he does to people. He just goes,
Yeah. He's like, find that guy again. That's some good fodder. So he was back up. He was thinking about it. He was like, wow, that guy's back up on his feet, huh?
damn,
I think Boiled is gonna get his lick back.
that would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Boiled has
I
to
wouldn't
get
be
it.
mad.
Boiled has to
Yeah,
get his
that
lick
was
back.
pretty crazy.
He-
I ain't gonna lie, that's
That was the ultimate BM right there.
If I was him, I would be thinking about the fact that I got strummed like a guitar all day.
he gotta focus.
I'd be pacing back and forth. It's like I can't let it stay that way.
Yeah, he can't let that happen.
The motherfucker had me perpendicular to the ground and then strummed me.
Yeah.
Was this all your thoughts though?
Yeah, pretty much, man.
Brian, what'd
Cool
you think?
chapter.
Dude, I love speedsters and I love Kendaka. Kendaka is so fucking cool. The way he be zooming. Pew pew pew.
Kandaka's got the zoomies.
And honestly, the fight scene between it was a 2v1, right?
It was a 2v1 in that moment, yes.
Oki really fucking handled his fucking. He stood on business. He was talking shit, and he also backed it up. It was pretty sick. Going 1v2 against these two
I think
guys
he could
specifically.
beat Spam.
What? What'd you say, Josh?
No, I think he could definitely beat Van Damme.
Yeah, I think it'll be really close, but I think he could do it.
Just so you know, Spandam is the power scaling that we commit every character to. Can they beat Spandam?
If yes,
Iruka.
Yeah, Spandam or Aruka. Those are the two.
what about Mitsuki?
Mizuki, Mizuki beat Aruka. So
Who's
I feel like
Mitsuki?
From the very first chapter of Naruto, the big shuriken guy.
That nigga's a lame. He couldn't even kill. He couldn't he buried a shuriken, a giant shuriken in someone's back directly in their spine and didn't at least paralyze them.
Right? That was crazy.
You're lame, bro.
Well, that's how strong Iruka
lame.
is. That's more of a testament to Iruka's power.
Then he's stupid for even challenging that nigga while he was around. Either way, he's a clown, bro. He's a clown.
he's stupid for challenging him.
Fun fact, did you know that they brought Mitsuki back for like a filler arc?
Really?
Was he a bad guy again?
Mm-hmm.
Really? He didn't learn his lesson? What did he do?
I don't remember the exact story, but I do remember that being a thing where Mizuki broke out of ninja jail, and he became a tiger guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had
Didn't it end with like Naruto taking the shuriken for Iruka?
I don't remember, but all I remember is that Mizuki for some reason was like a Zoan fruit tiger guy, where he was like a half tiger, half man. Brian, you could look this up. You could look up.
It is real.
Yeah, right.
I just looked it up.
So Lucci.
No, worse.
Can you put him on the screen so Josh can see him?
Okay, I'll look it up.
Brian,
on the
look
computer.
up Tiger Mizuki. That was such a crazy moment. I didn't watch all the filler episodes, but I've seen screenshots of some of them, and one of them is this Tiger Mizuki that's been going around.
All right. Here you go.
This is our new
Tiger Mizuki.
He looks like Tony the Tiger. What the fuck?
Yeah.
He looks way worse. Oh, look at the
Here's him
Frosted Flakes
holding-
picture. Wait, they got it with the Frosted Flakes.
Oh my god. Yes.
No, wait, what the fuck happened to him here?
Oh.
Yo, wait, what is happening to this guy?
He drained his life force.
Look at how they massacred my boy.
He looks withered.
What happened to him? Did Iruka get to
What
him
the-
again?
I don't know. But while I continue to research this, Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I thought this chapter was pretty cool. Hopefully Sakamoto bounces back because his family's okay. I get the initial shock, but he's got to chill. Yeah, I can't imagine what comes next. I figure there's probably going to be some kind of mini training arc in Shin's future now that they have Atari. And now the Kandaka and what's this guy's face again? I forget his name. This the deadbeat guy. Now that they're back, I can't.
Yotsumura.
Yeah, Yotsumura. I feel like they're gonna teach the rest of Team Sakamoto something before they go hunting for the order. It was cool to see one of our favorite shonen tropes reemerge. It's been a while since we've had villain group that hates each other but are united under a common purpose. So yeah, I don't have much to say outside of that. I'm excited for what's coming next. The action is gonna be fucking crazy, and yeah. I just noticed that the film guy's scarf is like a film reel, and that's pretty cool.
Oh, you just noticed?
Yeah, I probably noticed it before, but I haven't seen him in a long time, and I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
You think he went to Brooklyn College?
No, definitely not. He would not settle for Brooklyn College's film program.
I mean, it's pretty good.
He'd probably go to NYU. He'd probably go straight to NYU.
Well, if you have money like that, I mean, geez.
I mean, hey, I'm assuming that he does. Look at that suit and that scarf.
Yeah, that shit is definitely custom.
Mm-hmm. But that's all I gotta say about Sakamoto.
I'd
So,
like to know what Luke thinks about that.
Real quick.
I can send him.
Oh wait, what the hell? Am I on the wrong? Hold up.
Are you on the wrong tab?
I'm not sure. Hold on. Whoops.
This is our new presentation technology here on New Jump City.
There you go. Orochimaru granted Mizuki a tattoo, which was a formula of a potion to transform one into a muscle-bound behemoth of himself with the tremendous raw speed and strength. However,
It's the curse mark, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
However, the potion was incomplete, and shortly afterwards, he was reduced to an emaciated old man. Although Tsunade managed to save his life
Emaciated?
and reverse the aging effects of the failed poison, Mitsuki would permanently lose his capacities as a ninja.
I'm not a big fan of Boruto, but if Mizuki doesn't make an appearance, then what are we doing here?
My thing is, why is Orochimaru around here trolling Mizuki for?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he likes to emaciate people, which is to make them abnormally thin or weak, especially because of illness or lack of food. He looked like he was lacking everything in that picture. He needed a lot.
All right. We're going back to the drawing board with this thing. It's being weird.
Yeah. I think it locks
Oh,
on.
I see. So it goes by tabs.
Yeah, it goes by tab. So you gotta pick a tab.
That's kind of dumb.
It's not dumb. You could share a window, Brian. You could also share a window. See, this is
You gotta learn your ways around the yard.
Look at this emaciated man.
He's emaciated.
Look at this emaciated man right here.
that is that should be the
Coco,
picture.
You're emaciated.
That should be my cats act emaciated every day, even though I just fed them.
Yes.
God damn, that's an
That's-
emaciated motherfucker.
That should be
I've
the
ever
picture
seen
next to
one.
the definition. It should be that picture.
Yeah. He reminds me of that old person from SpongeBob. I don't know if y'all remember. She was basically like a worm.
Oh yeah, from the chocolate episode.
The chocolates.
Yes. Yes. The old
Chocolate.
lady.
I'll take one.
But yeah, that's all I gotta say about Sakamoto. Do we want to move on to the next one?
Yes. That's yes. She's emaciated.
Come on, you lazy Mary. Start rubbing me with that chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, you remember that shit. I gotta watch that.
I remember that. That was probably my favorite episode of SpongeBob at the time.
Yeah, that guy was freaking out.
That shit had me rolling.
Chocolates.
Chocolate. Anyway, let's move onward then.
Fi me picnic in the car with me so I can chat.
Kagurabachi. With that, I suppose I'll pass it over to one of you guys.
To Josh Cole,
Yeah, Josh.
because I do kags.
Oh, you want to do keg?
Yeah. Kagurabachi, chapter number 73. Daybreak. So last week we got a pretty massive lore drop about like what actually happened to the invaders. Long story short, after these swords were created and they were able to fight off the invaders and force a what do you call that, a retreat? No, not a retreat. Surrender. Yeah. Right. So, but unfortunately, one of the swordsmen, the owner of the Shinichi, went fucking berserk and committed a genocide and eradicated seemingly all the people from that island. This was told to Samura by Mr. Snakeman himself, Yura, right? Also known as Strings.
I don't know what that means.
That's a Don Zero reference.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, yeah, so anyway, I'll cut to this week. So Samura is like basically dealing with that, like, information on his head. He even went back to the headquarters to like talk to like the one of the generals about it, and everyone was telling him to just relax and be cool about it. That they don't have to worry about the malediction happening again. We also learned that if the Shinichi sword bearer is killed, it will also kill the other swordsman, which is quite the conundrum. But okay, so for this chapter, we start by Iori, which is Samura's daughter, seeing some garbage laid out in front of their house, and she's like, it doesn't look like our garbage. But whatever, she tosses it in the bin, and we cut back to the swordsman school. Samura's talking to one of the dudes, and he's like, oh, I hear she's in the same class. Well, one of the dudes is like, oh, I hear she's in the same class as my son. And, they're probably friends or whatever. The dude says, this is a small town with not that many kids. Social shut in pretty quickly. So, yeah, Samura goes to the shrine for his late baby mom's. And he's explaining to her how Iori's been adjusting to her, like, school life and living with her dad, being himself, Samura. And how she obviously still misses her greatly, but she's dealing with it day by day. Iori talks to Samura about how school's going, and she has nice things to say. How apparently there was a situation in class where people were praising her dad, and it felt really nice to her. And she also tells him, hey, one day I'm gonna be the fucking best, and I'll be as good as my dad too. And everyone was fucking excited in the classroom, and everyone applauded. And that's definitely not foreshadowing to anything else.
Not at all.
Anyway, yeah, not at all. So, could someone talk for a moment?
Yeah.
Hey,
All right, I just had to put the volume up. Thanks.
Okay.
So, yeah. As so Samura goes to pat Iori on the head. He's like, "Yeah, I'm glad you're making friends at school and having a good time." As she says, "Oh, I got into he notices that there's like a bump on her head, and she's like, "Oh, I fell," and I guess because he's blind, he has a super sense to tell she's lying. So she's like, "Oh, I got into a fight." And she basically tells him why, which was she says like, "Oh, one of the kids like disagreed with her saying her father was a killer, so she stood up for him, and they got into a little scrap, and that was that." And Yori's like, I want to be like you, so I can protect everyone too. So I'm not gonna let people put that dirt on your name. I got you, Dad. It was nice, very nice and wholesome. So the funny thing is, Samura goes to the school to go check that nigga. He's like, "Oh man, like I'm sorry, my son was rude. Don't fucking chop my limbs off." And he's like, "Oh, kids will be kids." And it's like, "Nah, like don't worry, I'm a kid. Make sure he knows that you saved our country." And Samura gets a call from the school, and Iori asked him to pick him up early. And she was like, "Oh, I just felt like blowing off school. Like, come on, fuck it. It's all good. Like, what are we making for dinner?" And right before, I guess, Samura could really start going in on her about, like, "Bitch, you can't just cut school, man. I told you it was, like, sick." She notices, like, there's, like, a whole lot more garbage, like, on the, on the wall. And there's also some like she says like there's a little bit of gunk on the wall too, and that she has to like wipe it up. And she's like, damn, like who would do this?
Why'd you pull this up, right?
What the fuck?
That's Mizuki.
Emaciation. Why is that next to taijutsu? I don't understand.
It's what happens if you use taijutsu in this ninja world.
My bad. I was just trying to bring back the presentation. You guys can continue.
Go, Josh.
Anyway, man, for those listening, Brian keeps bringing up the image of of Mizuki, but in his emaciated state, and it's distracting. Anyway, so they see the trash on the wall. The daughter starts cleaning it up. So does he, and Summer notices that there's some dudes talking. And they're like, oh, yo, did you see that? That pile of trash was huge. Must have been more than just us. Oh, they bugged out. They bugged the fuck out. So, they're like, oh, was there graffiti there before? And he's like, yeah, but not like this. So, well, it's not like he can see it. And then Samura pulls right up on him. And he's like, oh, you two dumped that trash? And they're like, oh, it wasn't just us. And it said, basically they start to tell him like, oh, we heard about what really happened, like about the genocide, and Samura immediately thinks about Yura and how he's like, oh, he's like spreading that story around. And we instantly actually cut to Yura and another sorcerer. Oh, the tree guy.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. So he's talking to him. He's like, "Oh, we can't prove it, but the Kumanami covered up. Is all because the Kumanami covered up everything. You know, we scattered leaflets around trying to let everybody know. But look, even though they don't have a way to prove it, but they're gonna be able to sow mistrust amongst the population because some people are gonna question like." You know, about what actually happened. Yeah, they're having a little evil conversation. But they're like, basically, like says that there's a slow mountain tension instead of there just being an abrupt reaction to like what's being learned and told. So we cut back to Samura pressing the dudes, and the guy's like, everyone in this town already knows what you are, a fucking monster. And man, that fucking hit Samura hard. Harder than he hit his eyes to make them blind, probably. So, yeah. Iori's cleaning up a ton of fucking graffiti off the wall. And as she says to herself, the truth is, basically everything she was saying in class was cap. As soon as they brought up who she was, they recognized her last name, and all mad kids in the classroom was talking shit about her dad, and they started like bullying her, and even the teacher let it rock. She was like when she started to like react to the other kid, they was like, "Oh, violent, aren't you? Runs in the blood, I guess." So yeah, she ain't getting no help at all. That's why she wanted to leave the school early. And the crazy thing is that Samura is realizing that she's going through all of this, like I guess just instinctively, putting two and two together. Because obviously, if there's a bunch of adults talking about it, the kids do, know as well. And he's really fucking going through it. And there's this crazy moment where like he walks towards Iori's room, and he hears her crying. And then he imagines, I guess, like her fucking hanging herself. like in one of these panels. I was really confused the first time I read this.
Yeah, me
but,
too, honestly.
Yeah, but then I realized he was just kind of imagining the worst case, as they said, looking toward the future. This guy's a good writer, man. He knows how to put these things together. Anyway, he starts remembering Yura saying, "I know the truth," and worrying about the future and all of that. And then the narrator says, "The 6 months we spent together as father and daughter." Oh, that's the narrator is Samura.
Yeah.
Came to an end when I left Iori with her mother's sister, as she's like crying and, probably super upset that her dad left her. And he's like, then he pulls up to Mr. Shiba and a young Chihiro. And I guess like talking to him about his concerns. And he's like, look, those who, actually Mr. Shiba's like, those who know of the sword master's crime. The geezer told them about the prophecy that Yura told you about, and that's how the malediction will happen again. And Simon's just like, look, man, I'm counting on you. You gotta protect Rokuhira. I guess he's not talking about just Chihiro. He's probably talking about, his dad. And he's like, protect him at all costs for the sake of the future. And then the last page of this chapter, we get a cut to Samura getting a phone call, learning about Rokuhira getting bodied. Yeah, and that's the end of the chapter. Brian, what are your thoughts?
This is my RGC.
What the fuck is that, Brian?
It's mine too.
It's also mine now.
Yo, what the fuck?
It's Mizuki again. Well, this is in celebration of this. This is Unified Really Good Chapter of the Week.
Unified RGC. Unified RGC. Unified RGC.
Go on, Brian.
Oh man, this chapter, it hurts so bad for Samura. It really does. I just wish that shit didn't end up the way it did for him.
God damn it, take this shit off the screen, Brian.
What, you didn't want to continue looking at emaciated Mizuki?
No, I did not want to continue looking at emaciated Mizuki.
But damn, like Samura, he's such a sweetheart. He just cares. He cares about his daughter so much. He believed in what he was doing and protecting his people. And then one asshole had to go ahead and fucking genocide an entire fucking civilization.
Yeah, bro, that nigga wilded out.
And now he's the one. Now he's the problem, apparently. It's just so sad. And now, man, like, seeing the way that he reacted to hearing that his daughter got into a fight just made me feel so sad for him. I don't know why. He's just such a kind guy. And now it's just like he's kind of taking this guilt to an extreme. In having to like kill like basically everybody, including himself now for the sword wielders. And it's really like, I kind of hope that he gets saved from that kind of fate, you know, like, especially if, what's his name? The guy that he already killed, quote unquote, already.
Uruha?
Yeah. If Uruha's still alive, then, you know, there's still a chance that he can be redeemed or saved from this fate. But man, this chapter, it hurts to read considering everything that's going on currently, like in the current part of the timeline, because this is all flashback. And seeing that, you know, Samura's kind of gone down the path of a rogue and taken on this whole journey by himself because of the actions of one fucking dickhead. It's just really sad. This chapter really made me feel for him and his daughter in ways I didn't expect to kind of see him. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Chris, what did you think?
Yeah, I can't help but think, but Summer is gonna be kind of a tragic character. I don't think he gets. Well, he will probably get redeemed, but like I don't see him joining the good guy's side anymore. It's possible. I think they're like building up that Iori might actually be the one to take him down at some point. But yeah, no, this is obviously a very sad chapter, and Samura going through this whole ordeal is pretty rough to see. And imagining like things going so bad, imagining that your child would take their own life, you know, I feel like I understand that. It's just like she'll, knowing his own guilty conscience about the whole situation, to see that might be passed down to his daughter is terrifying, I imagine. So I understand why he thinks he has to do what he does. But it is also cool to see from Iori's perspective that, you know, she is suffering through this, but she's trying to keep it together, you know. And she's doing her best to both defend her dad's honor and, you know, to keep her dad going. And yeah, it's just kind of sad, and we'll have to see. She kind of sees it coming, even, is that, like, you know, if dad thinks I'm suffering because we're together, he might go far away from me again. So she kind of saw his reaction coming from a mile away. So she's trying to put on a brave face so he doesn't do that, but he does it anyway. So there's got to be some kind of feelings in that regard that I'm excited to see explored. But yeah, I really like this chapter a lot. I think it was the best chapter of the week. Kagurabachi is really good. I'm excited to see more. Josh, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this backstory.
I think the pieces are being put together in a nice way. This is what people mean when they say we want complex villains. Like, people, I hate that there's been this calling for, like, just regular bad guys, you know, that are just bad for the sake of being bad. And that shit is so whack to me. I like people that have purpose and reason, especially since, in my opinion, bad and, like, good and bad or whatever are subjective terms anyway. So we're questioning someone's motives to their goal. But anyway, yeah, I feel like I thought he had a lot to. I thought he had something to do with Rokuhira getting killed, but it makes a lot more sense that his like reaction to hearing about Rokuhira dying kind of was like the final, like, you know, hair that broke the camel's back, so to speak. Yeah, for him to be like, okay, like, shit is bad. The fucking swords is out there. This is gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, I need to get into action. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the reality is this, right? Like, I'm sure they're gonna make a big deal of it as the series progresses, but the point is that they lied. They lied. They tried to cover up the genocide that happened for the sake of quote unquote peace, and I think that's a really pessimistic take to have. You know, to think that people in society won't be mature enough to, you know, one, be able to feel shame about what happened, not on a personal level, but about, like, you know, as far as feeling bad what happened to those, like, people, and wanted to condemn, like, the specific swordsman, right? But I think they can do that and at the same time understand, okay, let's still try to have a peaceful world and strive for better. I think it's super pessimistic. And one of the only places I kind of feel a little critical for Kagurabachi, but at the same time, I think there's a whole lot of room to explain more, and I don't really know what was being done behind the scenes as far as Yura and the other sorcerers to spread that information. But anyway, no, I mean, I think that's the point that they're gonna make, that they should have been honest anyway.
Yeah.
So the Kumanabi's fucked up for that. That's very they schemers and fucking puppet masters,
Yeah.
conniving bastards. That old guy, Grandpa Mini Masumi's grandfather, that nigga is going to enable the malediction. That's the reality.
It's a bold prediction.
And then he will become emaciated.
Emaciated.
Emaciated. Yeah, I forgot already. Okay. Those are my thoughts. Left the chapter.
Wonderful. Same. Do we have any rebuttal?
Kagurabachi been on a fucking roll, by the way.
It's been on a 73 chapter roll. It's been very good.
I know. I'm talking about as far as like getting RGCs and shit.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
it's very
I ain't
good.
gonna lie, like this is kind of like on some Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen was a champ. Is a stat patter back in the day in its heyday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. JJK put numbers on the board.
for real.
Didn't always win I don't know if it won a championship per se, but definitely solid player, put numbers on the board.
Oh yeah, it'll be a Hall of
Charlie
Famer. I would say Jujutsu Kaisen is a Hall of Famer. But anyway, and that's it. That's it for Kagurabachi. It's time for us to move on. Dandadan. And with that,
All right.
I'll pass it over to Brian.
So Dandadan picks up, moving on to another set of heroes since the severed head dribblers have been dispatched. And now we cut back to Okarun and Kinta as they are running away from, what is that, a dumpster being thrown at them?
I think it's a shed.
So a shed is being thrown at them as they're kind of running around the school as an alien and a guy who looks kind of like Okarun in the way that he looked in his
Turbo Granny.
yeah, his Turbo Granny form. But instead of like using speed, like physically using his body, seems like he has like these rings that can shoot like these sonic blasts at people. And
Just something.
yeah,
I'm sure they mean something.
so
Some type of cultural thing.
yeah, I forget what it's called. We looked it up before, but as they're running, Okarun gets hit by him, and as he's kind of being flung at high speeds towards the wall, he kind of blocks the kick onto him and brings his arms back and creates a like cushion to stop himself from splatting against the wall. And he kind of he gets back on his feet and continues to run, looking for Kinta. And he says, "We can't fight them with just airbags."
Yeah, no shit.
Kinta's like, "Shut the hell up! This isn't time for that. Draw the enemy away." And they kind of, Okarun's kind of like wondering why, a space alien would be here. And in that moment, it is revealed that the guy who kind of looked like Okarun with the ring legs is actually the guy who was mad fucking jealous of him earlier in the arc.
The grade A hater.
The grade A hater.
Yes, I'm glad they brought him back.
And he admits that the transformation takes a toll on his body, and he kind of wishes that the stupid like rings weren't on his feet. Um, and he kind of talks to the alien. He's like, "Quit zipping around. You're getting in my way. Go after lard ass. You hear me, lard ass." So, grade A hater, grade A hater.
How dare he
Grade A-
speak about my goat that way?
Yeah.
Grade A hater really wants Okaroon, so he's kind of telling the alien to go after Quinta instead. And the alien is just straight up ignoring him. He's kind of just like looking at his hands, which is in his arms, which is inscribed with a bunch of runes. And grade A haters kind of like, hey, I'm trying to steal Takakura's abilities, and all I really want to do is, well, he's saying that you can go and steal his fucking abilities. I just want to kick the shit out of him. And we get a full stretch of how he looks like in his transformation form, which is actually a pretty cool,
Yeah, it does look
pretty cool look. It's kind of like Takakura's Turbo Granny form, but instead of a half mask that covers his lower half of his face, it's like a full like monster mask over his head. And he gets those rings, and he basically like asserts his dominance, and he's just like, stay out of my fucking way. I'm gonna fuck this guy up. And while they're distracted, kind of bickering amongst each other, Quinta slaps on armor onto Takakura, which looks very odd because it barely fits Takakura. He kind of looks like a turtle in his shell.
Body.
He looks like the washing machine hero from My Hero Academia.
Yes, I was wondering what he looked like.
He looks like Wash.
And Quinta tells Takakura not to touch the equipment because it took a lot of effort for Quinta to make it. And since it's like nano whatever, if Takakura were to touch it, he would accidentally manipulate it. So it would be better for him to just not touch his armor at all. Takakura explained, well, not Takakura, Quinta explains that he put veneers on the back and pile bunkers on the legs. And Takakura asks Quinta what he's gonna do, and he goes, "It goes without saying, my suit will be the great Quinta." As he creates like a fucking Gundam ass suit.
He's fucking Iron Man, guys. My goat.
Yeah, that shit is cool.
Which is an extremely fleshed out suit of armor compared to Takakura's little power washing machine armor. And finally, the alien has had enough of grade A haters bickering and immediately blasts off. And he flies past Quinta and sends a kick towards Takakura, who dodges it or tanks it with his armor instead. Which means that his armor is actually super, super helpful. Like Quinta's armor is super helpful. And it's revealed that since the last Great War, Quinta has actually been putting a lot of thought into how to use nanoskin and how to greatly improve the armor that he that he was working on. So he walked around every day carrying a paperweight and forced his body to become familiar with the hardness of steel. And that's why it's it's so heavy and hard to move in because it's an actually like using his mind, he made it feel like it was metal or made it feel like it's steel.
Yeah.
So the armor actually can withstand a lot of damage. And as he's kind of explaining that, Grade A Hater flies in and kicks him in the face, sending him fucking full like cartwheeling away. And as Takakura is kind of calling out to him, Alien Guy doesn't give him any chance to kind of like look out for Kinta as he flies in and kicks him again, which leads to Takakura kind of asking, "Yo, why are you fucking attacking me?" And the alien says, "You stole everything from me." Takakura Takakura gets pissed at him because he's the one who stole his fucking balls. And the alien responds with, "And you stole my reason for living."
It's a good counter argument.
Which is, yeah, a pretty good counter argument. As we get a little bit of a flashback to one of the aliens saying that they their planet was destroyed. And that this alien only joined them so that they could kill their emperor. And after close to 100 years, he became the right hand of some big deal aliens. And apparently the humans have killed them. Have ruined them all, or something like that.
Because they defeated them in the big war, so he probably got demoted because of that.
Ah, okay. And he flies in and he's like, "Can you understand my anguish, my frustration?" And as he kicks Okaroon on the head, but it's blocked by the armor, and Okaroon says, "None of that means anything to me," as he kind of turns on his boosters and flings himself towards the alien in an attempt to kind of headbutt him back. But he blocks the attack, bumps him back, and prepares to throw a punch. But Okaroon uses the pile bunkers on his legs to kick the alien back, launching them both tumbling backwards as they roll back to their feet. Takakura says, demands for him to stop and doesn't see him as his enemy, but the alien responds with declaring that his goal right now is to kill him and then die himself. As the chapter ends with a large, beautiful field with two lovers standing in the middle of it, embracing and kissing. And that's the end of the chapter. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Josh?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Sorry.
I got my cat on me, making me a little too relaxed.
Yeah, I feel that. Dude, cats do that.
Yeah. I mean, I for one thought that these two were gonna be dead the next time we saw them, so I was really shocked.
Oh, yeah? You thought the
be
protagonist
perfect.
was going to be dead in the next chapter?
Yeah, I thought they was gonna make the girl with the hair the new protagonist. You know what I'm saying? And
That was
then
a
maybe
bold
they would bring
prediction.
him back to life in like a later arc. You know, it's a series about spirits and dead people and aliens and shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, but they're still alive, and that's due to your man's.
Kita.
Yeah, he held it down for
The
them
goat.
for sure. I think it's interesting that they brought these aliens back, but I kind of forget what they was about. Yeah, they was basically going around colonizing planets and shit. You know, alien colonizers. All colonizers are whack. I fucks with that. But it seems like this alien has some potential to have a little backstory and maybe a little bit of join the team. I
Possibly.
don't know.
I see
I mean,
it.
look at that. You see that? Look. It says my goal right now is to kill you, and then die myself. As that's a girl, by the way, in the robot suit.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was like the female alien that we saw and was given the power.
So I'm gonna tell you what's absolutely gonna happen. All right, like without a doubt, she's gonna fall in love with Okaroon. And
That's a
join the harem.
bold prediction.
No, that's actually pretty solid. I feel like that makes
How
sense
solid do you
because-
guys feel about it?
How solid do you not feel about it?
I don't feel solid about it enough to maybe initiate.
Chris, this is a harem manga.
This is not a harem manga. You guys are wrong.
Well, I guess we'll see in time.
Well, do you guys feeling brave?
You're not willing to be burgundy about this?
I'm
Josh?
willing to be burgundy about it.
Wow.
I'm willing to throw it on the gauntlet. 2-0. In wrong burgundy.
You're not even making a fucking. You're just playing.
I'm making a
defense
prediction
here.
that she will not fall in love with Okaroon. You guys said it was very solid. You guys said it with all the confidence in the world.
Nah, I don't think it's that serious.
Josh, you're a stronger man than I. I would
Brian,
have taken this. I would have taken this.
It's okay.
you can if you want, Brian.
I'm not. I am not.
So you wouldn't have taken it.
I don't feel that strongly about this,
Okay.
but I won't be surprised if it happens. That's all.
All right.
And you shouldn't be either, Chris. That's
It
all I'm
won't,
saying.
but that's okay. Anyway, you can proceed with your thoughts.
That's all I had to say.
All right. This was my second favorite chapter. I thought it was really cool. The art is awesome. I love the design of this guy, the grade A hater. I think it was so cool.
Yeah, they keep delivering with all of these different ghost-powered people.
Yeah, he's such a good artist, even in like character design. I like this. I always like the suit guy. He reminds me of a xenomorph from like Alien. I think that's what they were really going for. The aliens from Alien.
Yeah, it's a cool ass design.
It also reminds me of Vanitas. Like at least the
From Kingdom Hearts.
the black domed one. Mm-hmm. Kind of reminded me of him. But yeah, this was really cool. I'm glad that we got some kind of mini character development for Quinta in terms of battle. Him carrying around the paperweight was kind of cool. I'm excited to see where they take this further. Yeah, I just want more. I just want more development for Quinta, dude. Get me this Quinta arc already. I'm very here for it. But that's all I gotta say. The fighting is cool. I like this alien thing that's probably gonna. It probably will join the group. It won't fall in love with Okaroon, I think, but she'll. I'm excited to see her backstory and see how she plays into the story. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Brian, what did you think?
The action in this chapter was so fucking good. I love the way that he like kind of drew motion with the way that, people like get up or rolled or tumbled or moved. It just felt like everything flowed in a very Jujutsu Kaisen-esque way. Where it's just like there was a lot of fluidity and expressiveness in the way that people were drawn in their poses and the action and stuff. And it felt pretty cinematic in some ways. Like the final interaction in this chapter between the alien and Okaroon, where Okaroon kicks him and then they just like both fly backwards and tumble into a roll back into like a standing position was pretty fucking cool. I kind of like that. And I really like the way that he draws this ring guy, the way that he jumps and stuff. It actually looks pretty fucking cool. Very similar to like, it's kind of like an Okaroon mixed with Umbrella Boy kind of thing going on. Which Umbrella Boy is my favorite like design for these like supernatural people. Because of how fucking sick it was to see the way that he blasted off and flew around and stuff.
Yeah, he had the most edge one, but it was very cool still.
But this one is very similar to that in that way, where it's like very explosive and dynamic poses, and which still has the same kind of Okaroon flair to it. But yeah, this chapter was pretty fucking cool. I really enjoyed reading it. It was a very like great, eye appealing chapter. And I actually look forward to seeing how things kind of pan out for this squad in particular, because this could be what leads Okaroon to getting his powers back, because this is very similar to Turbo Granny stuff. So if he could steal like grade A haters ability somehow, then this could be his way back into the fight. Or maybe, you know, he goes down a completely different path where he doesn't need it anymore, and he could kind of handle his own. But yeah, this Dandadan has some options coming up. I'm excited to see it. What if Okaroon gets alien powers instead of spirit powers?
That would be surprising. I don't know which ones he'd get.
That would be sick.
But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, pretty sick. Well, I just noticed this guy's got thighs like a motherfucker. The grade A hater, if you see like the drawing. These are Saquon Barkley's thighs, I imagine.
Super Bowl thighs.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I guess that's it for Dandadan, and that has been our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. As per usual, you could find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Josh is at JDCole_37 on Instagram, at New Gem City Josh on Twitter. Brian is at b.esp on Twitter and Instagram. Check him out where he's streaming at twitch.tv/itspunchline. Email the show at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about. We'll address it on the pre-show chat show. And we did that this week already. We have a pre-show chat show in the bank, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Castbox, Pocket Casts, wherever you get podcasts, we are likely on there. And of course, the YouTube channel that we are on now. We are fully in effect in a video streaming way. So check us out on that. Like, share, comment your thoughts on the chapters that you have read and what we have talked about so far. Let us know what you guys think. And yeah, that's it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Stay safe, New Jump citizens.
Peace.